Okay, well, great. Thank you so much for having me. So, hi, my name is Katie Gardner, and I'm an elementary English as a second language teacher and an Apple Distinguished Educator class of 2017. And I'm really excited to be here today to share how iPad has inspired my teaching and supported my early learners' literacy skills, leading us to a transformation in our learning environment. So today I'll be sharing some authentic examples of how my students have used iPads in centers, whole group, virtual, and hybrid learning. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera and until the end of the presentation as I begin my slideshow. All right, so let's talk about building literacy skills with iPad. Before we begin, I would like to share a little background about my school and our students. I am from Knollwood Elementary School in Salisbury, North Carolina, way far away. We are a rural public Title I school. So we have about 600 students, and about 60% of our students are non-native English speakers. We are a one-to-one school, meaning our district has devices for everyone, and our students have access to an iPad to use in school and both out of school in the home. We are currently using the hybrid learning model where students are in class 2 days a week and remote learning for 3. Now let's hop on into my classroom to check out our learning environment and explore how my early learners use their iPad to build literacy skills. Our daily routine is made up of a whole group in blended learning centers, incorporating iPad, where students use a digital prompt to create a personalized pencil to paper product or a digital product. Let's begin by looking at my literacy centers. In my class, we have a writing, word work, listening, speaking, vocabulary, and reading center. In the beginning of the year, we use our iPads from the get-go. And as many as you guys know, never underestimate the power of a 5-year-old on a device. They really catch on so quick. I use the gradual release model so students become familiar with the routine and process in completing the center task with their device. Students track their progress and completion through the literacy centers using the center tracking chart I've created in Pages. Now let's briefly take a look at each center task to demonstrate the learning. In the Vocabulary Center, students scan QR codes purposely placed on the wall below a sight word wall. With their iPad, students use the camera to scan the QR code and listen to a vocabulary sight word sentence dictated by an avatar that looks like me. They then write the sentence they hear and have supports of the sight word and a picture of the vocabulary word purposely placed behind the avatar. I believe it's way more exciting to hear and see a fun little avatar dancing around the screen, telling them what to write, than me physically standing in front of them, dictating the sentences out loud. In the Listening Center, students use Legos as a purposeful manipulative to practice our literacy skills in a Lego log. Let's face it, what 5-year-old is not super excited to build and learn with Legos? Students start by using a camera to scan a QR code and listen to a recording of me telling a story about the Legos or describing a scene to build. Once students build the scene, they label the Legos with picture word cards and take a photo to insert into their Lego log I created with Pages book template. They make an audio recording describing the scene and write 2 simple sentences using the yellow text to trace over and the word cards in their picture that act as a word bank for support. In our Speaking Center, students use Flipgrid and these cool red retro phones to practice answering questions in complete sentences. Now, let's keep in mind the majority of our students have never seen a phone like this before. So there is a need for a quick whole group tutorial of what is this foreign object and how do I use it and hold it. You would not believe the excitement the students have and wanting to speak into this thing that we call the phone. Students watch and listen to a video of myself asking them an opinion question, then create an answer in their own video response. Students are encouraged to explain their answers in detail, complete sentences, and I'm able to go back at a later time to watch students' videos and identify if concepts or language need to be retaught. I do believe it's important for our early learners to become familiar and comfortable speaking into the iPad, with the transition of many of our state reading, math, and language assessments now being online. In the Reading Center, students complete word or sentence scrambles, integrating our content vocabulary and sight words. This helps us practice our letters, sound knowledge, as well as sentence structure. Once students have manipulated the letter or word cards to match the pictures, they take a photo on their iPad and record reading their work. This task is completed using Seesaw, so I'm able to review the students' reading at a later time, add comments, or assess using their program skills tracker. The center is purposely placed beside our keynote morning message with the focused vocabulary, content words, and pictures as an extra support. Moving along to our writing center, students use digital writing prompts on the iPad to put their writing skills to test, pencil to paper, in a writing notebook. Students glue the baby QR code in their writing notebook so they always have access to the digital writing prompt. They scan the QR code with the camera on their iPad and use the words, animation, and videos of myself reading the prompts in English and in Spanish to help them answer the question in complete sentences. In the WordWork Center, our iPads help us self-assess our work, building responsible and independent learners. Students complete a phonics task such as identifying beginning sounds, ending sounds, writing CVC words. Then they scan a QR code using the camera to be the teacher. Let's tell a 5-year-old they get to take a turn being the teacher and watch their face light up. After scanning the QR code, up pops a picture of the correct answers to their center task. Students need to self-assess their work, put checks if they got things right, circle, and make any necessary changes before placing their completed center work in our green finish box. Now let's dive into how my students use our iPads during whole group instruction to help us learn some literacy skills. After reading a read aloud story, students open their Keynote Literacy Learning Journal. I created this digital journal to help us practice fluency, grammar, vocabulary, and visual literacy. On the first page, students take a picture of a shared writing anchor chart and record themselves reading it in an audio recording. On the next page, students practice a selected Tier 2 vocabulary word from the text. Create an audio recording saying the word and write the word using the drawing feature and define the word using dictation on the keyboard. The dictation accessibility feature is such a time saver. As you can imagine, lots of little fingers trying to type out sentences when they might not have yet mastered some of the letters and letter sounds. It also challenges my students to speak very slowly and clearly as they say the definition of the word into the iPad. On the third page, students complete a phonics markup. I've taken a picture from our read aloud story, recorded 3 ways for students to annotate or mark up the text using the drawing feature that incorporate using phonics patterns, punctuation, and sight words. Put a box around the word that has the ch sound. And finally, students are asked to create a personal picture to show a connection to the story. This incorporates our vocabulary word as well. And as we know, drawing is such a powerful tool for our young learners. As we learn the letters, students complete a My Alphabet book I created with the Pages book template. After introducing the letter of the week, students open a new page in their book and record themselves saying the letter name and sound. Find a shape or object that begins with the letter and trace over the yellow text to practice their writing skills. I create the yellow text because it's similar to the technique of using a highlighter when working on pencil to paper. I've taught students how to select the yellow text after they've traced it and lower the opacity to reveal their independent writing. Our school district uses Orton Gillingham phonics program, so we do not learn our letters in ABC order. Once our books are complete, students are able to easily manipulate the pages and place them into ABC order. Also, as part of our Orton Gillingham phonics program, students learn how to phoneme seg by tapping out the sounds of a word using green, yellow, and red dots, and then pounding their fists as they say the complete word. My students use their iPad and an interactive keynote with GarageBand beats to help us keep the rhythm and identify the sounds and words. Students look at the picture at the top of the slide, tap out the sounds as they keep the rhythm with the drums, write the word, then tap the screen to self-assess their writing before moving on to the next slide. It's really fun when doing this to see the students bopping to the beat, while little do they know they're practicing their phonics skills. Let's talk about some engagement with augmented reality. I love using augmented reality with my young learners. Here, students incorporate shapes from Keynote and wrote positional words and labels to become part of an augmented reality scene. Using our Apple TV and the screen mirroring from our iPad, students purposely place themselves alongside the shapes according to their positional words and then describe their location in a video. To learn about community places and workers, we created our own augmented reality town. Students found pictures on the internet, placed them into Keynote, and then we lowered the opacity to trace and color over them using the drawing feature. With the AR Maker app, students placed their drawings around the room to build our own town. Then we were asked to create virtual tours in a video. Now let's discuss data. Why not have a 5-year-old track and assess their data? They become aware of the things they know, identify areas of improvement, and set personal goals so we can begin to build that growth mindset. Here I've created a color-coded digital data notebook for our students to track our statewide reading assessment. North Carolina uses MClass and TRC, and our English as a Second Language WIDA assessment data. And I believe I looked before coming here that Hawaii is a WIDA state, so hopefully if we have any ESL teachers, this will be helpful for you as well. In small groups or in one-on-one conferences, I guide students on how to fill in the graphs, and we discuss ways that they can improve and practice for the next assessment. By using the drawing tool and the audio recording feature, students document their data in a way that was relatable and understandable for them. And how cool would it be to have this student in a student-led parent-teacher conference for students to present these digital data notebooks to their parents to show what they know? Brain break during our whole group activities with our digital or within our digital activity books. Completed during our hybrid learning, our students are prompted to take a quick brain break and move and groove with these fun keynote and clips movies that integrate our academic content and vocabulary. Here's an example from our Letter of the Week book where we are learning about letter A words.
Brain break. Now it's time to move and groove with some letter A words. Hop up and down with the red apple 10 times. Pretend you are an airplane and slide to the right, slide to the left, 6 times. With both your arms, shake, shake, shake for 5 seconds. Watch this video 2 times.
All right, now that we've taken a brain break, let's talk about this past March when the world turned upside down and my busy bees returned to their homes with iPads in hand to begin our remote learning. During this time, I challenged myself to try and think outside of the box in creating joint engagement lessons that were interactive, filled with literacy tasks that were meaningful and not meaningless. And in many of our cases, our early learners became the media mentors, demonstrating to family members how to navigate through this new device. And we've begun our new 2021 school year as hybrid learners. Using this model, I'm able to teach the new literacy skills face to face, masked up and 6 feet apart. And then the students are demonstrate their understanding in virtual assignments using multimodal features and tools of the iPad. Let's check out some of our hybrid and remote learning tasks here. This one is a quick feelings check-in because as we all know, it's Maslow's before Bloom's and we should put the child before the technology. Students look at photos of my emoji and I've added to a blank pages document with the support of feelings vocabulary text. Students are prompted to take a selfie picture with their camera or create a video describing how they're feeling and explain why. Let's have students create scenes at home with their toys and then do a quick writing prompt and write pencil to paper about what they created. You could provide a sentence starter for students who need more support and ask students to take a picture of their finished work or create a video reading what they wrote.
Iron Man is going to take a ride in his.
Here is a fun, simple I Spy game found in my Colors Pages multimodal activity book, where students are prompted to find and take pictures of things around their house. They tap the media placeholder to add their pictures to the color splotches. Students could create an audio recording describing each item they found. Within these digital activity books that I create, students are guided with these visual icons so they understand how they will interact with the literacy activities. They will either watch and listen and learn, or they will capture to show what they know. Here's a simple activity from my Hygiene and Healthy Habits digital activity book. Students are asked to watch the video of someone correctly putting on their mask, then take a selfie picture of themselves put their mask on correctly. During this activity in my shapes book, students are prompted to watch a very informative video about finding shapes in the food we eat. Then they're asked to take a picture of their food that night to add to the page's document. Once added to the document, students can create an audio recording describing the shapes they found in their food or use the drawing tool to trace over their picture and outline the shapes in their food. How about after completing a read aloud story, ask students to create their own video in which they recreate or act out the story using materials from home? This is a fun way for students to show their creativity while practicing the language domains and demonstrating comprehension. Here I've used the Apple video making app Clips to create gradual release model video series. I do, we do, you do. These videos support my early learners at home. In these newsletter videos, students hear my voice and see Spanish subtitles. At the end of each video, students are prompted to create and upload a video or a picture to demonstrate their understanding. Here's an example of one of the videos.
I can with clips. I can name the parts of a book. I do. Listen and learn about the different parts of a book. This is the front of the book. This is the back of the book. This is the spine. Here is the title of the book. The title is the name of the book. Here is the author of the book. The author writes the words. Here is the illustrator of the book. The illustrator paints or draws the picture. This is a picture. This is the text. Using two fingers, show me a letter. Using two fingers, show me a word. We do. Now, let's try it together. Using your finger on the iPad, touch the front of my book. Now touch the back of my book. Now move your finger up and down the spine. Now, pretend you are the author of the story. Touch the pencil and follow it along as you write the words. Now, pretend you are the illustrator of the story. Put your finger on the paintbrush and pretend to paint the pictures. Now take two fingers and place them on the iPad. Show me a letter. Now move your fingers and show me a word. Let's try it again. Show me a letter. Now show me a word. Now you try it all by yourself. Now using the video on your iPad, record yourself showing me the front cover of your book, the back cover, and the spine. Now point to the title of your book. Tell me, what is the author's job? What does the illustrator do? Now open your book to the first page and using two fingers, show me a letter and a word.
And here's an example of one of the videos.
And we back
and little pie. 3. Little Tyler, I love you, Mommy. Little letter and indicator. Little picture and little letter and little hour. Thank you.
We got it. All right. So that's just an example of one of the videos. Sometimes it's just as a video showing students how to write a letter. And the flip task would be to write 3 capital letters and 3 lowercase letters. And once again, I used my emojis for these videos. And it shows students how to write the letter, capital and lowercase. And it has them trace over, follow the purple dot with their finger on the iPad. Due to time, we won't watch the whole video. Bear with me. Then tap the microphone and record yourself saying, G says good. In this creative writing prompt video, students was made using Keynote. And here students see a secret shaped mystery bag appear, where they are prompted to write complete sentences using the words and pictures as support. So each week, different secret shake items fall out of the bag and students create their own sentences to take a picture, record themselves reading, and send it to me. In this guided writing task, students are asked to first look at the picture on my clipboard and read the words around it. Then they try to write the sentence pencil to paper all by themselves. They can start the video and begin to self-assess their work as the words magically move to the lines before taking a picture, reading their work to send to me. Now let's watch a writing prompt incorporating some augmented reality. Here I use the Google free AR feature and screen recorded myself to excite and engage the students in writing. To support my different levels of students, I added a writing template filled with sentence starters and a word bank for them to use when writing their answers pencil to paper, creating those blended learning tasks. And I have to say the panda won by a landslide here. After reading read-aloud stories such as this one with Ruby and the 3 Osos, I took 4 pictures from the story using the camera and added it to the blank pages document. I then added 4 squares from the Shapes library and retelling text. Students are asked to drag and drop the pictures into the correct squares to retell and sequence the story, and then create an audio recording retelling the events. Here's a simple matching listening activity from my Colors multimodal digital activity book. Students click on the audio sample, listen to the color, then drag and drop it to the audio sample to the matching paint bucket. Green. In our brainstorm bubbles, graphic organizer from our Growing as Global Citizens multimodal literacy book, students create audio samples to share their thoughts and create a digital anchor chart. Challenge your high flyers to type a text to add to the brainstorm bubble, or use the drawing feature to add some visual representations. In all my multimodal digital activity books, students use my audio recordings and a visual vocabulary word wall as a resource when completing the task. They are able to see the pictures, words, and hear an audio recording of myself defining and explaining the meanings. Capital letter. We make capital letters for proper nouns, like when you write your name. Let's talk about a mystery picture using complete detailed sentences. In this task, students watch a mystery picture appear on the page. I created this mystery picture video in Keynote and exported it to a movie to add to the Pages document. Students are asked to create an audio recording describing the picture, and they can use the sentence starter as a support.
big
Your turn. How can students show what they know about being a good citizen? Here is the picture prompt and emojis for students to show what they know in an audio recording. It's a great speaking practice for students to describe and explain using complete and detailed sentences.
Now it's your turn. Create an audio recording sharing how you would be a good citizen in this situation. Look at the picture and look at the 3 items in the box below. There is a trash can, a broom, and a book bag.
Here is a fluency example from my Make, Create, and Bake multimodal book, where students use cookie sheets and magnetic letters, a digital cookie sheet, sorry, and magnetic letters and pictures as digital manipulatives. I love how the speech accessibility feature allows my young learners to self-assess the reading and support those who might need a little extra help before hearing the text, before trying to read it independently. Here's how it works.
Let's practice our fluency by reading this letter A poem. First, try reading the poem all by yourself. On the next page, select the whole text and choose Speak to hear the poem read aloud. Then, create 2 audio recordings of yourself reading the poem.
Apples, green apple, yellow apple, red apples too. 1 apple, 2 apples, 3 for me and you.
Let's challenge students to create a podcast. In this activity, from my Healthy Hygiene book, students create a mini podcast describing and explaining the steps to properly cleaning our hands. I've added the words and pictures as a support. And in the Building Bright Listeners task, students are asked to listen to my recording describing how to place items at home to demonstrate understanding of content vocabulary and positional words. For example, they might hear my emojis tell them to place a book in the middle of their table. Put a cup on the right side of the book. Place the spoon on top of your book. Then have students take a picture and then describe where they place the items. At the beginning of my Healthy Habits and Hygiene book, students are asked to design and draw on their own mask. This is a great simple practice for students to experiment using the different types of drawing tools, as well as how to add images from the Pages Shapes library. In this Dream Yard activity, students were prompted to take a picture of their yard using the camera on their iPad, add it to the photo to the Pages document, and draw over it to design the yard of their dreams. Students were asked to add an audio recording describing their new and improved yard.
I draw an orange tree, an umbrella, a ladder for the pool, a picnic table.
In this Make and Trace activity for my Letters of the Week activity book, students warm up their hands by using Play-Doh to build a letter. Then they take a picture of it to add to the Pages document and use the drawing tool to trace over the letter to practice our writing skills. On this page in my Work on Writing book, I have used Keynote animations exported to movie to reinforce and reteach literacy content during remote learning days.
I can run.
Students may watch this video as many times as they would like, and then on the following page, they're asked to drag and drop the punctuation into sentences to show what they know.
Look at the big dog. I am excited in this sentence, so I need an exclamation mark. Do you like pizza? I'm asking a question, so I need a question mark.
And here on the next page, they would tap and drag and drop the punctuation into the sentences. Here I've created a digital dice using the GIF, GIF, whichever you say, feature in Keynote. Students start and stop the movie to discover what kind of iPad feature they will use to complete the following task. Looks like we'll be using the camera. And with clips, I can create fun and engaging teaching movies like this one found in my Positional Words book for students to reference back to when completing the follow-up activities. Here they watch the video, then on the following page, listen to my story and move the emojis into the picture to demonstrate their understanding.
Below. Behind. In front.
On this page, they hear the emoji tell a story and they drag and drop the pictures, the emoji pictures at the bottom, into the big picture to show what they know about positional words.
The books are placed above the boy on the shelf on the wall. The flashlight is below the boy under his bed.
Or let's incorporate listening, drawings, and speaking skills with this one activity titled Letter Story. To create a slightly more engaging task, I use my Memoji recording for students to listen to a story using our letter of the week, draw what they hear, and then record themselves explaining their drawing. Yet another fun way to incorporate vocabulary and positional words.
Anna and Andrew are playing outside. Anna is standing beside a tree. It has 3 red apples and 2 brown acorns.
Finally, I've created a choose your own adventure writing prompt in Keynote where students are able to decide where Mrs. Gardner will go by selecting on different items within the slide.
One day, Mrs. Gardner wanted to go on an adventure, but she couldn't decide where to go. She could go explore in the city, go back to her house, or go hiking in the mountains. If you would like Mrs. Gardner to go to the city, click on the red car. If you would like Mrs. Gardner to go to her house, click on the mailbox. If you would like Mrs. Gardner to go explore in the mountains, click on the backpack.
The items are linked to different slides within the deck to personalize the experience.
First, Mrs. Gardner arrived to the big city. She was so excited to go shopping.
Students then write pencil to paper about their adventure with Mrs. Gardner.
Money left over.
So no matter our learning environment, face-to-face, hybrid, virtual, iPad has been our solution in supporting my early learners to help build their literacy skills. My academic leaders connect, consume, and create through multimodal texts and are inspired as the academic and social language are learned. And once again, I'm Katie Gardner. Thank you so much for having me today to your conference. And please feel free to connect or reach out on Twitter. I love posting on Twitter and sharing and connecting with my PLN. Let's grow and share together, or reach out to me through email. I'd be more than happy to share and connect that way as well. So thank you again for having me. And I think we have a little bit of time if there are any questions or comments.
We do have a question from Donna in the chat. She asks, how do you afford the phones, iPad, pens, etc.?
Sure. Can you repeat that one more time?
Sorry, Donna is asking, how do you afford the phones, iPad, pens, etc.?
Oh, great question. So, well, the red retro phones were probably about $11 on Amazon. They're pretty affordable. And the pens, pencils, we do have Apple pencils. You can use Logitech crayons. I've also used Dollar Tree stylus or just the good old finger. So there's many different ways. You can do programs like a donor's choose. You can reach out to maybe see if your school can help you fund things for like pencils or pens, but you can also just have students use their fingers or get something very simple from like the Dollar Tree. They work as well.
Mrs. Dogley is asking, do you have tutorials on how to make these?
So I do have a book I'll share in the chat that you can download, and it takes you through a tutorial of how to create your own multimodal literacy activity book. I'll share that link in the chat, and I'm happy to share all of the other multimodal literacy books that I've created based on vocabulary units that I shared throughout the presentation. If you would like those, please reach out to me and I can send you the links to download all of those as well, if that's something you're interested in. So hopefully that, oops, let me see, send it to everyone, I'm sorry. There's the link in the chat. Hopefully everyone can see it. That will take you to how to download the teacher guide to creating your own multimodal literacy book using Pages, as well as clips and Keynote and all those fun little tools you can add to it as well.
I have a question, Katie.
Sure.
How much time do you usually spend making all of these different presentations and everything?
That's a good question. So I like love creating and making things. I have a passion for it. So I take a lot of time to do it, but I love to do it. So it's fun for me. But the thing about my literacy centers in my classroom is really the format stays the same. The only thing that changes are the vocabulary content words. So it's really not that much time. And once the students catch on and learn how to use the iPad within each literacy center and the format of the center, all I have to do is change out the content and the words. And those are things that I can use each year, really. So it's not too much time once you create those QR codes or the digital writing prompt. But I also believe that let's share. I'm in it to share with other teachers. Like if you have something cool to share with me, like let's share. So I'm up all for sharing. And if you have a great digital writing prompt, or if you would like one of mine, let's do it. So the digital books on Pages really don't take that long either. And that is something I can use every year once they're created. And they have been great during our hybrid learning because I'm able to teach face-to-face the new content vocabulary or literacy skills. And then on the virtual days, students are able to complete those literacy books independently by themselves.
Thanks, Katie. We have a few more questions. Aaron asked, do you provide feedback to all the students' works? And if so, do you provide feedback digitally majority of the time?
Yes, so I try to make it a personal goal of mine to provide feedback. In all of my digital activity books, there's a teacher rubric at the end of the book. And this teacher rubric is for myself and also for students. And it is just an emoji smiley face or an emoji thanky face. So they're able to understand it as well. And we share things virtually with students through Seesaw. We use kindergarten through second grade uses Seesaw to send out remote work and to get it back. I really try hard to comment, even if it's a thumbs up or, maybe you should try and do this again and change something and send it back to me. So students know that if they've taken the time to do my virtual work, I'm going to take the time to comment back. And it's an authentic audience. They're not just doing it to do it. I'm looking at it. I'm assessing the learning. And I want them to know that I care. So I do try and provide feedback for everything.
Thank you. There are a lot more questions, but if you would you like to drop your email address in the chat so people can reach out to you with other
Sure,
questions?
that would be great.
Okay. I'm also going to put the evaluation link in the chat because we need to wrap things up. If we didn't get to your question, please feel free to email Katie at the email she just put in chat. Thank you again, Katie, and everyone for your participation. We hope you found this session helpful. Please help us complete the evaluation form. The link is in the chat, and that will open after the entire conference. If you complete that form, you'll be entered to win one of 20 $5 Starbucks gift cards. Thank you all again for being here today, and we hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.